Welcome to our show, Tough Talks Unlimited, co-hosted by Derek Bowles and myself, Michael Garth. In this show, we're going to hear from world-class leaders and innovators, people who are willing to have positive conversations and share their insights on tough talks to get you through tough times. Let's get started.
So first and foremost, man, I'm super excited to have you here. Tough Talks Unlimited, powered by Champions of the Heart, Unstoppable, and Extreme High Execution. So I'm going to let Coach Garland really take the lead because there's a history here, and I'm going to let him make the introduction.
Well, audience, let me introduce you to Travis Walton. Most of you who probably be watching this know that Travis, in my opinion, one of the top 3 players here at Michigan State. Now, most of you would be confused by what I'm saying, but there's always an ongoing argument throughout Spartan Nation about who's the best leader. Who's the best leader ever at Michigan State? And this guy, believe it or not, Magic Johnson and Mateen Cleaves, he stands tall in first place in that order because his leadership qualities are such that he took a team without the same talent level that Mateen Cleaves and Magic Johnson had and got us to a Final Four, a final game against North Carolina, and he himself wasn't the best player. And that's totally unusual for someone to be able to do that. Well, his phone went off a little bit. That's all right. We don't care. It's all part of the whole thing. But Trav, it's great to have you here. I want to welcome you in, man. Here's my man. I mean, we recruited him to get us back to the Final Four and bring toughness to our team. And he was able to do everything. He delivered everything that he told us he could do. He did, man. I'm so proud of this dude. Y'all don't even know. Him and I have a special bond. And, I always say he's a lot like me. So let's talk a little bit about that grind week thing. And we were just talking before we started, and you were saying that you're the originator of grind week period, which is a big thing across college basketball now.
Yeah, it is. First off, I want to give OG your flowers, right? Like, you mean so much to me and so much to everybody in Spartan Nation. As you get older, you get more emotional, right? And you understand that your feelings are supposed to be released and poured, right? And I can say I was brought up that way, and then coming to Michigan State, right, to embrace that family, that love, that hard love, right? Tough love. And you were a big part of it. You know what I'm saying? For a lot of us, even when we had tough moments with Coach, you knew how to communicate with us to get what he wanted out, and also tell us how to balance it. So I love you so much, man. I'm so thankful that you entered my life at a time in my life, and that you are still in my life. And I'm sure every Spartan, I can speak for all of us, I know every Spartan that you have touched and been around can say those same things. Obviously, he was a former player of yours, and you're doing the show together.
Right.
So that speaks volumes to who you are as an individual and as a person. And same thing I told Coach. I said, hey, Coach, you're a Hall of Fame coach, but you're a Hall of Fame person.
Right.
And as we get older,
that's big.
Right, when we get older, I think we value those things more. And as you get older, you start to look at the things that really matter.
Right.
And what really matters, what you guys said, like champions of love, right? Like champion, like a heart of a champion. All these things, it all still circles and surrounds you.
I appreciate it.
And you and Mama G, you guys have been wonderful. And I love you, man.
I appreciate it.
Wanted to get that first, but yeah, man.
Oh, man.
But yeah, no, man, like grind week. So it was originated from me and the guy, Jaquel Jaycock. We call him Juice, Juice.
Yeah.
And then Draymond Green in 2016. And we kind of had this idea with, Draymond. He's another one of us. Like he's a guy that thinks of others first, and he wants to continue to pour his knowledge, pour his love for the game, and he wants to continue to build it.
Right.
So it originated from that thought of, hey, let's bring guys in together. And at that time, it was pros. So we were bringing in, 2016, I think Jaylen Brown came one year. A few of the guys from the Warriors came. We had Aaron Gordon come one year. But we were doing it, bringing in these different pros. At one time, we had 25 NBA players and 10 European guys. And we were bringing guys all over. We were doing it in Oakland, California.
Right.
And the thought was, we're going to bring guys in here. We're going to fellowship. We're going to go to dinners.
Sure.
Draymond used to love Soul Cycle. So we used to go and we used to do Soul Cycle. And we did that. So we had different events to build off the basketball court. Because as you know, that's the most important, right? To build off the court. It's the summertime. So we knew how important it was for guys to just come. So that's what we called it grind week, where no, you're not going to come here to just party.
Right.
You're not going to come here just to joke around the gym.
Right.
We're going to come in here. We're going to fellowship. We're going to build. We're going to get better with each other.
Yeah.
We're going to ask each other questions. Yeah. And at that time, Draymond was just winning his championships. So I was like, DG, what better person is it to tell guys what it takes to win a championship? Like giving these guys ideas, because everyone is trying to figure it out.
Right.
So that's where the whole motto grind week came from. And to see where it from 2016 to now 2023, and we at Michigan State University, to see the growth, and it's the third annual. Watch the growth of this, man. It's big time.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. It's a phenomenal.
Yeah.
So a couple of things that I love. First, I love what you said about Coach. That's powerful. You already know, but I love how you talked about fellowship, because it's bigger than just a game of basketball, right? And people don't understand. And I really want you to give us an idea of, when you talk about fellowship, what does that mean and how does that relate to what you're doing?
Yeah, so Michigan State, we have always had a unbelievable brotherhood with the past, with the Mateen Cleaves, Mo P's, the Charlies, the Magics, the Steve Smiths. The list goes on. And we naming guys that were managers. Like there was always a sense of ownership.
Yeah.
Right. Like this is my school. Right. This is my moment. So like when guys would come back, like you would feel it.
Yeah.
So as a recruit, before this was going on, we would have a weekend where it would be a big weekend. All our pros would come back. We would play open gyms. We would hang out. Like we would just spend quality time with these guys. And they were in the NBA. Some of them playing in Europe, and that meant a lot, right? Like I'm from Lima, Ohio.
Right.
I've never been in the presence of an NBA player. Until I started to go college visits. Right. And to see the Mateen Cleaves and like that guy just like me. Right. With the Morris Peterson, the Zach Randolphs, like all these guys. So we always had like big weekends where we would get guys together and we would hang out and do all these things that was off the court was stronger than what was on the court.
Man.
Oh, wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Man.
And like that always meant so much to me. And I'll never forget. I tell Mateen Cleaves' story all the time. Like I had just came from Marquette.
Okay. And
Marquette at the time was the best situation if I wanted to go and score and do some other things, right? They were kind of rebuilding. Coach Crean had said, hey, the freshmen that come in here is going to have an opportunity to play. Right away. And not like I played 20 minutes, I think, my freshman year here. But I was going to start, and it was just other things that I was able to do, maybe that I couldn't do here immediately. And so I went to Marquette, had a great visit. Travis Diener, they were coming off that Final Four a couple years before, so it was great. And I'll never forget, I came here the following week or a couple of weeks after, and I walked in the gym, and I seen Mateen Cleaves with this like little football jersey, and his abs were showing. and you know Mo and Mo style, right? Mo is controlling the whole gym, right? And Mo clean style no better. So I'm like, whoa, like, and Mo was in the league,
right?
So you thinking of this guy in the NBA, but out here loud and talking trash.
Right.
But like it's a way that he talks trash. They got everybody in the gym laughing.
Yeah.
And I remember walking in the gym and saying, "Thank you, Lord. This is the place for me. This is the place for me." Like it was. So when I committed to Michigan State, I didn't even tell my parents.
Oh wow!
I committed on my own because I had Cincinnati, I had Marquette. They wanted me to take more visits.
Exactly.
That was like, yo, take different visits.
Right.
But I made the decision was like it was something that God had placed on me that was like inside of me. It was, and I move off of things like intuition. I move off of things like that, and it was because of the love and like it was genuine. It was rough. You know, guys were cut from a certain type of cloth.
Sure.
Right.
But it was genuine.
Yeah.
And as I always said, we always talk, hey, you could say anything to me. Just be genuine.
Right.
Just don't make me feel it's coming from a place
Right.
that's unwarranted. Or you if it's genuine, you can tell me anything.
Right.
True.
And that's what this place presented to me. And that's what Coach Izzo, the coach is, the former guy. So it was so big, you know, in regards to that. Being able to come here and be a part of this brotherhood.
Sure. The spirit is what I'm hearing you say.
Yeah.
You know, Trav, you know, I think I shared with you briefly that you know, I'm in the process of building a leadership and team building coaching business. And you know, part of what I met with a group of CEOs right after my situation, right before my operation. And I shared that whole thing with them. And I told them, especially in today's world, in the United States of America right now, if you don't have an original relationship with your people, you're not going to be successful.
Right.
And I remember before this, really that perspective really came about and started to be present out there, you know, in the universe. And I remember, you know, that was Chief's big thing way back. But I remember telling them how you were able to bring those guys together the year that we nearly won the national championship because of your relationships with them, and they felt they could not let you down.
Right.
They would not let you down. It was, remember, you and I used to always talk about it. And you used to say, hey, coach, I remember, you probably remember this. I know you would. I remember after the game against North Carolina, and we were talking about it. And I said, well, the Lord let you live your dream. You said, oh, gee, now I know. Instead of asking him to get me to the Final Four, I should have asked him for a national championship. He said that. He said that. It made you understand something, though, didn't it? It made you understand something about, first of all, the power of prayer. But when you know, what you want, you got to speak that.
You got to speak it.
How you want it.
Got to speak
it. We got there, man. I mean, we were unbelievable.
Yeah.
And it was all on this dude,
man.
It's all on him, man.
That gave me chills, coach, because I remember that. And, I tell people to this day, like, the power of prayer, the power of, like, you know, faith without works, right? Right. You got to work.
That's right.
You got to work behind it. So we were putting in the work.
Right.
We were putting in the extra time. And for me, it was always, I knew one thing I could do. I could be genuine and be me.
Right.
Yeah. So if I could do that first,
right.
I have flaws like everybody else, right? But I knew in my leadership form that if I could lead with love, then you will follow me.
Right.
You will follow me to the darkest hallway.
Absolutely.
If you knew that if you got grabbed, I was going to jump in and work with you. So that was always my leadership style was that I was going to challenge you. I was going to be very transparent, but I was going to lead with love. Right. So every player that came under my watch, I went home with them.
Exactly.
So it was deeper. And I tell guys today, I said, there's something different about a guy when you go to his hometown.
Oh, yeah.
So I would go to their hometown and I would say, in my mind, my family, my hometown are so proud of me.
Right.
So there's so many people that have
Right.
helped me get to this
Right.
space.
Right.
So if I go back to your hometown, everyone's proud of you.
Right.
So now they like, you brought a boy from the city, from your school.
Right.
So like
Right.
we're like little celebrities.
Right.
So we go, and
Right.
I know a player didn't have to tell me how thankful he was. I knew how he was because
Sure.
I knew how thankful I was.
Sure. Yes.
Right. So I would go. I'm gonna go to Milwaukee. I'm gonna go to Saginaw.
Right. Right.
I'm gonna go to with Grand Rapids with Austin.
Right.
I'm gonna go to all these different places, and I'm gonna actually experience your friends, your family.
Yes.
Right? Let's go get a home cooked meal from
Man.
grandma or mama.
Man,
Like,
that's smart.
and then let me sit here and let's talk it out. Like, and let's have a vibe.
Right.
So because of that leadership style, didn't led for me when I would have that tough conversation. When I would tell you, hey, if you're not paying attention and listening, I'm going to fight you.
Right.
And after me and you fight,
That means literally. With keys.
we gonna fight.
Literally.
But you know what we're gonna do after we fight? We're gonna hug like brothers.
Yeah.
Because that's what brothers do, right?
That's right.
Brothers
Right.
wrestle, they
Right.
punch,
Yeah.
right? Sometimes you get a lick that you wasn't supposed to
Right.
do. But after it's all said and done,
Yeah.
you hug it, you figure it out.
Yeah.
So that was kind of my way of leading, where it was like, yo, I'm gonna be hard. We ain't taking no shortcuts.
Right.
This is what we're gonna do. But behind it all, it's gonna be led by love.
Man.
Right. And I think that year, what's made that year so special is we were pushing, we were doing some amazing things.
Right.
And we had a moment that year. We lost against Ohio State. We ran to the Big Ten.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
We went 8-1 on the road. We had the best at that time. I'm not sure if it still stands. We had the best road record ever in the Big Ten.
Wow.
We were 8-1. Remember that? Okay.
Wow.
So we were rolling, right?
Okay.
We're talking about like we were bonding, we were doing things, but like when you're trying to get something as precious and hard to get as a national championship and win a Big Ten championship, like you're going to go through your trials.
Sure.
Right? You're going to go through your ups and downs.
Sure.
And we lost in we had won the Big Ten regular season. We lost in the Big Ten tournament against Ohio State.
Okay.
Which for me was a big thing because I'm from Ohio.
Exactly.
And we lost, and I forget Pastor Brown, rest in peace. I remember calling him after we lost to Ohio State, and I said, Pastor, I need you to come in and talk to our guys. I said, what you mean? I said, you know what, Coach? I said, you know what, Pastor? I'm going to have you come and talk, but I have some things I want to say.
Sure.
I got to admit some things.
Right.
And I want to admit it to everybody.
Right.
But then I want you to come in because we're at a space when I admit it, we're going to get the yelling. This person going to do this.
Right.
So I'm going to admit what I did wrong.
Sure.
And then they're going to admit what they did wrong. And even if they don't admit, you're going to be there and then you're going to bless us with a prayer.
Right. And bring it all back.
They're going to bring it all back.
Bring it all back.
Right? Remember,
Yeah, I
Pastor
remember.
Brown,
I remember.
And that was my whole thought. And that right there moment, right, took our team from losing to Ohio State, driving back on the bus. Everybody like, what just happened?
Sure. Exactly.
Right? We just ran through what just happened. And we take that moment and we take it to a national championship. And it was the last championship we've been to, right, in Michigan State.
Yep.
But it was with a team. We only had one guy that got drafted that year was going on Sutan.
Yeah.
Right. And like so it was an incredible journey.
Wow.
And we went through some teams. So we went to USC, Robert Morris, USC, Kansas, Louisville, UConn. Right. And it was a tough road.
Right.
You know?
And at the time we beat UConn and they were picked to win the whole thing
Wow.
over North Carolina. So we didn't take the route because remember
Louisville was the number one overall seed.
That's right.
Yeah,
Louisville was the number one overall seed. Yeah. We beat all of those top seed teams. We beat them, man, because of what Trav instilled in the hearts and the minds of those guys, man.
Sure.
You know, Trav, I'm gonna tell you something. I always try to share with you guys something that you didn't know that was behind the scenes with Chief. Because you know he has his own way of loving guys. I never will forget. We were playing Purdue down here. That was that your senior year. And we were struggling. I mean, struggling big time. And Chief kind of got into you. Yeah, I get the guys going. And he says to you, he says, Travis, you can take the whole game over if you want to. You're the best defensive player in the country, but you really haven't been playing like that. He says, you get all the credit, but you are the best. He said, Travis, I need you to take the game over. D, I never witnessed anything like it in my entire life. This dude took it on a defensive level and forced him into turnovers, and it was blump, 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 blump. And within, I bet you 2-3 minutes, we must have been ahead by 20. But what I wanted to share with you was this. Because you know me and Chief, we'd have a staff meeting, but it would always be Chief and OG meeting too. Without anybody else. It's always been that. So we was in there, man, and I said, man, you really got Trav going. And he says, Mike. And he started crying. And I said, what's going on? He said, I failed him because I didn't get him to play that way defensively all throughout the entire season. And you were still all Big Ten defensive team. And I don't know what you were on the national level, but he said it would have gave him a chance to play in the league. And you know, he always wanted all of y'all to play in the league. I don't care if he was on our bench. He always wanted you. And I'm going to tell you, Trav, he broke down and cried, man. And what was ironic about it was, remember, I went to your workout with the Pistons. And I remember the end of the workout. And I tell kids this all the time. And I was standing there talking to Joe Dumars, and you walked up and you said, hey, Joe, how did I do? He said, okay. He said, how did you like how I shot the ball? He said, Trav, do you really want to know what I felt? And you said, yeah. He said, I'm going to be honest with you. When you were doing the shooting drills, I never watched. But he said this. He said, but let me ask you a question. Why didn't you dominate defensively when we went to the 3-on-3? That hit home, didn't it? That, and I'm saying, I know my boy hurt from this, but it was the truth.
It's the truth.
Right.
It's true.
The truth.
Right.
Because everybody think they know it. A lot of times, our own talents we don't respect.
Sure.
For whatever reason, we don't respect them.
Yeah, because you don't respect them because I think they're not the things that are celebrated.
Right.
You know, like it's not glamour, right? It's like it's just like,
that's a great word.
So like it's like a guy that shoots the basketball. He doesn't appreciate how well he shoots the basketball because he wants to show everybody he can dribble.
Right, absolutely.
Right, like a guy that can dribble, like a guy that can like really pass the ball and like run a team. He doesn't value that much because maybe he wants to score more.
Right.
Like, so I think it goes hand in hand. And I think that's also a balance of like leadership.
Oh yeah.
Right. Like of understanding like strengths and weaknesses and understanding like when to be hard on someone, when to give them a little love. And like, because our group, we had balance. We had 4 seniors. We had Marquise Gray. We had Goran Sutan. We had Idon Gibak. And then we had myself. And we were all different leaders.
Sure.
Right.
And each one of those guys needed to be on that team that year because they were able to balance me out.
Sure.
Right.
Because like OG said, I was like, yo, we doing this, we doing that, we doing this. And it was like, my form of leadership was do it.
Right.
Because I'm going to do it. So you ain't in the foxhole by yourself. I'm in the foxhole with you.
Right.
So you know what I mean? But some guys don't move off of you saying do it.
Right.
Sure.
Right. They need a little bit different ways.
Right.
And you got to have different forms of leadership. And as a father,
right,
you learn that even more. I got a 13-year-old son, so like I'm learning different ways of how to lead him. And you guys are fathers, right? So like learning different ways to communicate and to lead, and like I think it all goes in the same boat, right? If you're leading men, you're leading kids, you're leading a lot of different people, and people will follow you.
Absolutely.
If they think it's coming from a genuine space.
There you go.
Like if it's coming from a genuine space, I think people will follow.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So I got a couple of things I want to say. First, your comments have been unbelievable, man.
Yeah, no question.
And I love, really you talking about how do you lower your ego, right? Because stay humble, and then do it out of love. And people will run through a wall when you do it out of love. You know that, right?
Yep.
They will. But I really want to talk about what you got going on right now. Like what's happening with you right now? Because I think it's important, especially for the people watching. I want them to get educated on what you got going on. So give us a rundown.
Yeah, so I've been just doing my training full time. Different pre-drafts. I work with different NBA players. So I have different parts of my year that it looks like this year in my pre-draft class, I had 6 guys. I had Omax Prosper, Olivier Prosper. He played at Marquette. He got drafted by Dallas, 24th. I had Terquavion Smith. He played at NC State. He's with Philadelphia. I had Adam Flagger. He played at Baylor. He's with OKC. I had Arthur Kaluma. He ended up going. He was coming from Creighton. Ended up going to Kansas State now.
Okay.
Elijah Martin played at FAU. He went back to college.
Okay.
FAU, and then Liam Robbins. He played at Vanderbilt.
Okay.
And he's with New Orleans. Then I got a lot of different, Asian clients that I work with as well. And then I work with Draymond. Right. So I travel with Draymond Draymond Green. I travel with him throughout the year. The thing about that, I'm traveling with Draymond, who was a freshman when I was a senior. And obviously we're so proud of him and what he's been able to do.
Right.
And me and him, we worked it. That's like one of my best friends. That's my brother. Right. So my relationship, we only did one year together. So my relationship with him that started here and before here, recruiting him, is 13 years removed from college.
Sure.
We're still tight, and close, and I'm able to still lead him on the court the way I led him when he was here.
Yeah.
By instructing him to help him get better.
Absolutely.
Right? Because he'll tell you, he knows that I have his best interest.
Yeah.
So if I say something to him,
right,
he knows I have his best interest. He knows that I'm studying, right? He knows that I'm not just throwing things out there, throwing on the wall, see if it's stick, that I'm actually invested. And all my clients know this, right? Like that I work with, like I'm invested into you as a person.
Right.
And like even with Grind Week, so I bring 10 coaches. We have 10 coaches here from around the country, right? It's coming from California, Nashville, Atlanta. They come from everywhere, Ohio. And I always tell them, I go, you guys are like my brothers. So what we're going to do is you're going to come here and we're going to instruct and we're going to teach in a space of I'm really investing in you getting better. And we're going to make you feel this in 3 to 4 days, right? And that relationship is going to start here, but it's going to carry on for years. Yeah. Whether it's a text message, hey, man, keep doing it, man. You're doing a great job. Whether it's little things that people appreciate that we don't get all the time.
Sure.
And then also, we're going to make sure that they understand that playing at Michigan State is a big deal.
Oh, no question.
You know what I'm saying? Because I think sometimes when you in it and you in the fire,
right,
you don't realize how good you got to be.
Right.
To be at this type of level.
Oh, I already know.
So I always say that, and you had to be a really good player to play at Michigan State because this is a big time, prestigious university.
Right.
So we ain't just bringing in anybody.
Right.
You gotta have some game.
Right.
And once you get here, now you form into a role.
Exactly.
To what's best for the team.
Absolutely.
So and we're one of the best places in the country, right? We win with talent. We win without talent that the world says not talent.
Sure.
Right. And sometimes our best years are the teams that don't have the most NBA players, right, on that team. Right. It's because we're able to say, oh man, it's self-love.
Yeah.
Let yourself know that you got game, that you can play.
Absolutely.
And then when we're gonna go against this guy that OG was famous for this, like, oh, he's supposed to be this big time guy. Well, show me. You know,
Right.
show me. Like,
Right.
let's see. Best man win.
Yeah, let's see.
No question.
Right,
Let's see.
and a lot of times, right, these guys may have more talent, but the grind
Right.
that we had in the summer,
Yeah.
Grind.
those nighttime hours, those late hours of competing in the gym and like putting in, pouring in, we're gonna outlast you.
Sure.
Outlast.
We're gonna outlast you.
And
We're gonna outlast you.
hope that it was a grind.
We hope that it was a
What we
grind.
used to
We're
say, we're gonna turn this into a grind game.
It's gonna be a dog fight. Let's see.
So get ready, big boy.
Get ready, big
We're
boy.
gonna see.
Right?
We're
Get
gonna
ready.
see if
So-
you got some.
Yeah, so it's big. So that goes back to even with the grind week, like the whole thing of grind week. I tell our guys, like the motto this year, I text all our guys, I said the motto is get comfortable being uncomfortable. Right? Get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Right.
I say, you know why? Because we have a championship team this year.
We do.
Sure.
We do.
Sure.
So, and I'm telling the guys today, so now it's important for us to stay present in the moment.
Yes.
Lose ourselves in the moment, because when you're at a championship inspiring level, when you know you took that step,
Right.
you value every moment.
Absolutely.
You value every
Yes.
time, right? So OG, remember our last year, and I'm sure my team did the same thing, the Magics. Our year, I made sure
Absolutely.
that we valued every
We sure
moment.
did.
Being present.
Every practice,
Every practice.
everything. Actually, we
Meetings,
like
whatever.
everything. It was a value
Man.
to it. It was coming here, let's lock in, let's focus. I'm not saying you're gonna be perfect.
Sure.
I'm saying we're going to value the moment. We're gonna push each other. We're gonna be competitive. Hey, today may get chippy,
Sure.
but remember, it's getting chippy because we got the end goal.
Right. Exactly. Right.
The first goal is win the Big Ten championship. The second goal is going to the Big Ten tournament. But the ultimate goal, right, at that time, go
Right.
back, was I was saying the ultimate goal was get to the Final Four. But really the ultimate goal was win the national championship.
Absolutely.
So that's again when I'm gonna tell our guys, like, no, we're not asking for a Final Four.
Sure.
We did that.
Sure.
We did that. Like
Sure.
we did that. Like if you don't say we made it to the final game,
Right.
you just think we made it to the Final Four.
Sure.
Into
So,
the Final Four.
Final Four, but
Round here.
but now it's like, no, we got to win a championship.
Absolutely.
So we're going to
Absolutely.
speak that into existence.
There you go.
So we're not saying, oh, you're not a Final Four team. This is a national championship team.
Absolutely.
So like I didn't text all our guys though. Text
I love
AJ,
it.
Jaden. I put them all.
Yeah.
AJ, Jaden, Malik, and Tyson.
Yeah.
Yo, we have a championship team. I text all our former players that's here, that's coming.
Yeah.
Fellas, we are about to put these guys and push them for 3 days, and I need your full support.
Yep.
Not because we got a Final Four team, because we got a national championship
Man,
team.
there you go.
You know what I'm
There you
saying?
go.
Like, and we're gonna speak that into existence.
Oh, yeah, manifesting it right
and,
now.
and we're also going to come with the energy that you're gonna value the moments.
Yes.
You're gonna stay present in the moment, and you're gonna lose yourself in the moment. So
Man.
as you lose yourself in the moment, you're gonna say, if Johnny came in here and worked me out, this is for me to get better to get to this championship.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So it don't matter who in the gym,
That's big.
and we're gonna grind it out.
That's
so
big. That's
you know,
big.
this year is big, though.
It is.
It's a big year. Year 3 for us. Big.
Well, Champ, Trav, we're not going to prolong your time. I mean, you were so gracious to give us the time, and I know you're pretty busy with the grind week. I'm excited about seeing you with the workouts.
Sir.
But one thing I want to say to the audience, because I know that there's a lot of college and pro coaches that have seen my podcast and made mention about it. But I'm going to tell you guys something. You're sleeping on this guy right here. Hire this guy. I'm telling you, this guy has the potential to not only make your team a championship team like he did here. And what he doesn't say, he worked for us as a GA for years and helped us also push the teams that were behind him to the same exact thing. And that's what coaches do. And that's the pedigree that he has. That's what he is able to do. He has the intellect for it. He has the passion for it. Hire this God, he's doing well for himself now, but he deserves an opportunity to coach at the highest level of the two levels, college or pro. He has the aptitude, everything you need to be that guy. Hire him. If you need to talk to somebody about it, y'all know how to reach me. Y'all know how to reach me. Y'all know that I know. All right. But Trav, again, love you, babe.
I love you, man. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
We appreciate it.
Yeah, I wouldn't end it, man. Like I said, how we started, I appreciate you. I don't know you, but I appreciate you because OG appreciates you.
Absolutely.
And I know that he's not bringing nobody around him
Oh.
that is not a great person, not just a good person, a great person. So I appreciate you being great to OG because OG is very, very special to myself and to everybody here. And OG, as I always say, I love you, man. You and Mama G, you guys have been amazing. I remember last year you was like, "Try, you ain't called me." I said, "OG, you know I want to call you. I want to see you."
Yeah.
You feel me?
That's right.
I wanted to see you. You know what I'm saying? Like I wanted to make sure you were good.
Right.
You know, when you had the moment, right? Like
Right.
I wanted to see you, and,
Right.
and it's always the same. Like
Right.
as I say, as we get older,
Right.
we get more emotional.
You know,
So
what's funny
appreciate you.
about that is so many other guys said that. And it was weird when I didn't get it, but they all said, that y'all wanted to see me.
I want to see you. I want to see you. Because when we know, we tough, right? We tough. We tough, and we wear our emotions on our sleeve, and we understand that strength in your voice is important for people.
Right.
It's important. If I call my grandma, if I call my grandpa, or if I call someone, strength in your voice is important because it gives the other person on the other end like a calming presence, right? It calms you, right? But you also know that someone can just be being strong on the other side. They can really be hurting.
Right.
But when you actually see them in front of you, now you're looking at something different.
Right.
Looking at something different.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. It goes back to what I said when you going to go see somebody in their hometown and you look at it's
Sure,
something
sure,
different.
sure.
So that was important for me, and I'm sure it was important for the others. Like, nah, we're gonna hear your voice. You're gonna speak with strength. That's who you are. That's what you taught us to do. But when I see you in person, I'm gonna know if you standing strong or if it ain't right.
Right.
So it's all good, baby.
All right.
All right, man.
My man.
Appreciate y'all.